Hello, Chris and Laura. I hope you guys are doing great. Hey, I really am happy about the way you're putting some energy and effort into your project there. And we're going to take care of you, Laura. We're going to do our best. And you don't have any idea how frustrating it is for me to be stuck here where I can hardly walk and, not be able to come there. I would love to be there and just make you smoothies and do the treatments and do all of that every day. That would really be wow. I would love that. And thank you for your kindness and offering me to, the hospitality of coming there. But I tried to make something that's the next best thing, some kind of video that shows some pictures that gives a little explanation. I hope it's not boring. So I'll try to make it a little bit interesting anyway. And I hope if you can give me, questions or other things that you want me to explain further or tell me to speak faster or slower, I'll do anything that you like. So this video just shows you a little bit about the background of, I'm not going into the history of Rife machines or anything like that, but um, my involvement. So I started, back in 2001 when the machine saved my life, and I was using a Canadian machine, which still is a pretty good machine, a little bit expensive and not as powerful as it should be. The problem is that company really, they cheated me so many times. I've probably directly and indirectly helped them sell a couple hundred machines, and they've done so little to do anything for me. So no commissions or anything else. So anyway, my motivation is to help people, so that's the main thing. But a scientist friend in the Philippines was able to help me create a machine. Instead of 18 inches of bulb, we created 24 feet. And the early experiences, like I said, 2001 myself, my father, a pituitary gland tumor disappeared on an MRI in just a couple of days. So he avoided the operation and everything in 3 days of treatment, which was great in 2002. And my mother had a gangrenous foot that they were thinking about amputating. It turned that around and saved her foot. So that was my start to the project. And then eventually had a clinic in New York with over 2,000 patients from 35 countries and so many experiences. And although anecdotal, it wasn't a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial, with 5,000 pages of paperwork. But even though it was anecdotal or, just observational, I still saw definite patterns. And the people like yourselves who put some energy and effort into it, including the holistic approach of, water, food, nutrition, etc., all of that plays a role. So I just really, hats off to you guys. I'm very positive about the results that we're heading for, and we're getting an early start before other, you know, toxic elements are introduced in that. So that gives us a much higher chance, much better chance of success. So you see this machine could treat, we were treating like 50 people at a time. So that worked out really well and had even a grounding pad in the seat, which was cool. Portable device, again, the 18-inch bulb that we created. It's a LED, the red one. Then we noticed this actually is Jeanette, who her blood samples before and the rouleau formations and the coagulation of the red blood cells, so they're not carrying oxygen and nutrients properly. And then after a session, a blood test. So again, this is not a laboratory controlled, environment, so it's not perfect, but it gives you a basic idea of what's happening inside the body. So in the Philippines, we started treating people. Those who had a little money could contribute toward the treatment. Those who didn't have money, we treated free. But again, so many fantastic examples of people who had extreme results. For example, we had two ladies that came in almost at the same time who had tennis ball size tumors that were protruding through their blouse, breast cancer. And both of them the same exact results. After a 1 hour treatment, the following morning when they awoke, we asked them to estimate in percentage reduction, and they said about 40 to 50%. So instead of it sticking out through the blouse, it was almost flat. So we kept seeing things like that on a regular basis, which made us happy. And then help them avoid surgery, help them avoid the poisons of chemo, and that feels good. So initially, I call it a background check. So when I meet someone who's dealing with cancer, I start asking some questions like, if it's in the stomach, what do you eat? If it's in your kidneys or liver, bladder, then what are you drinking on a regular basis? Or one gentleman, for example, in Naples, he had prostate cancer, and so I started asking him a bunch of questions. He ate really healthy. He didn't go to McDonald's every day. I said, well, for example, I said some people who eat a lot of MSG, that affects the hormones, so breast cancer in women, prostate cancer in men. And then his daughter said, wait a minute, is that like a white powder? Because my father cooks his own vegetables. He goes to the market, often, and he's really healthy. But he uses this one thing to season his foods. And she goes in the cabinet, and this was at their home, goes in the kitchen cabinet, pulls out this giant bag of monosodium glutamate. I was like, ding, 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 there you go. So we eliminated that from his diet, and then after some treatments, he was good again. So those kind of things, we want to get rid of the causative factors. We want to get rid of the fertilizing of so in your case, in the lungs, the initial questions, smoking. Do you use the Glade plug-in, air fresheners, so 24/7, basically breathing that in. That's not made with rose petals, it's made with petrochem. And the other thing, I even remember this coming to your shop, is the smell of the rugs in the shop. It's not a bad smell, but it was a particular chemical odor. So is that Scotchgard? Is that some chemical used in Afghanistan in the process? So I'm not sure exactly what that was, but again, when the body is exposed to something over a longer period of time, it handles it, it washes it out, it cleans it out, filters it out of the blood, but then eventually the body says, okay, had enough. This is mutating some cells, we're going to store it over here in a bag, a tumor, and it's kind of like you want to avoid anything which stimulates cancer, right? So that's something to consider, something to think about. Some things we can change in our lives, to avoid fertilizing the tumors. Some things we can't. Some people might live beside Chernobyl, and it's difficult for them to move. But it's up to us as to how much effort and energy we put into these things. That includes also our eating habits, our nutritional intake. Where is the material coming from to produce a tumor? Where is the material coming from to produce, our immune cells, phagocytes, lymphocytes, macrophages, all of the good parts of the immune system? Where is that material coming from? Well, from what we put in our mouth, right? So we want to think about that very much, and that includes alkalinity, the foods that we eat, the water we drink. Again, inflammatory action in the body seems to lead to many diseases, such as arthritis, osteoarthritis, almost everything, pretty much cancer and everything else. It kind of starts there, a lot of people feel, so scientists. So it's like, again, the more alkaline we can get our bodies, the better. And later I'll try to make some videos specifically on nutrition, alkalinity, using the machine, etc. This one is just hopefully a little bit of an encouragement, a little bit of overview, food for thought, as to things that are important in the project. But I saw baking soda, sodium bicarbonate was mentioned. That's a good one. I've been using that for 20 years or more. And I'll give you an experience recently in the hospital where doctors, nurses had no idea, but then they saw me immediately turn around when I started taking it, baking soda. So that's something to mention. Now here's the big one, treatment schedule, AMAP. What in the world is that? As much as possible. So in the documentation, from Canada, from the probably BCX, I saw it a little bit there too. They're like, be careful, don't run it too much. There might be a Jarisch-Herxheimer reaction, a kill-off, or like a healing crisis of toxicity. Don't worry about that. If you have muscular sclerosis or you have Lyme disease or specific illnesses, that's true. Or if you have systemic cancer such as leukemia and other things, bloodborne, then there may be a very kind of a crummy feeling the next day as you start to kill things off. For me, I'm like, wow, that's good. I feel a little bit nauseated the next day, or I feel a bit slow because I killed off a bunch of garbage that shouldn't be there last night. So yeah, just go for it. As much as you can take it, you are different from anybody else. So just use the machine as much as possible and go for it. That's all I can say. Go for it. The ones that use it, an hour a day, that's good. 8 hours a day, much better. So the more, the better. And that's good that you plan on sleeping with it also. That's where I've seen the most results. My father with a pituitary gland tumor that disappeared, really, he started feeling better. 6 weeks being bedridden. The next day, he was already greatly improved after putting the machine in his room, running it at night while he was sleeping. So that's one close example, but there's many I could tell you on that. So again, these stories a lot are anecdotal. If you share this with any doctor friends, they'll probably laugh and say, what in the world is this guy talking about? But the good thing is we did have a lot of documentation that our friends showed us that we were treating. They would have before and after CAT scans or ultrasounds or MRIs or whatever. Many times we heard this sentence many times from the doctors and oncologists and radiologists. They said, this is the wrong scan. With macular degeneration, with cancer, tumor reduction, all kinds of things. They said, no, this is only 1 week between, and we shouldn't see a 50% reduction in tumor size in a week because we haven't even been treating. So their initial thing was, this is the wrong person. So that shows that there can be a substantial change. This gentleman, for example, he was only like 40 years old. It was an Emirates Airlines pilot or aircraft power mechanic for Emirates Airlines, and he had bladder cancer. I believe the tumor was like 3.5, 4 centimeters or something. And the Emirates Airlines said, we'll give you a month to fix yourself, be cancer free, and then you'll keep your job. So he had the threat of cancer and the threat of losing his job at the same time. So he was with us 15 days, completely cancer-free, no tumor, no bloodborne, nothing. All of his blood tests and his reports and ultrasounds came out 100% clean after just 15 days. So he kept his job and kept his life. So that was great. Then, we had the reports before and after of such people. It was super encouraging. This young man was one of my favorites. About, I think he was 21, 22 years old. His mother had taken him to the hospital. The hospital couldn't do anything. They diagnosed him as high-grade dengue fever, and he felt like he was going to die. He looked like he was going to die. So he came to us. It was recommended by some friends of friends, and he came to us like at midnight. We told him to take his shirt off so he would absorb as much of the energy as possible. He did, and after 30 minutes, he looked over at his mother. He said, Mom, I'm feeling a lot better. And then the next morning he awoke and totally symptom-free and like he had never even been sick. So we told him, go back to the hospital, get the same tests run again, and he was completely dengue-free. This gentleman, Ray Locker, was a good friend of mine, 72 years of age here. 2 years prior, he had colorectal cancer. I mentioned him earlier. And they did the surgery, removed it, said they got everything, but it, of course, seeded other tumors, and this time 4 places. So in the bladder, in the colorectal area, in the colon itself, I believe, and then in the prostate. So they said this is going to be really difficult. It's very aggressive. We don't know if we can operate. We don't know if we'll succeed. So he came to us first instead of getting the toxicity with chemo. And after the first treatment, his pain disappeared. His energy came back. His blood cells now could carry oxygen again. So he was amazingly different in energy. Then after 1 month, completely cancer and tumor free. His blood work was clean, everything. So it was great. It was really, really great. But even after 1 session, it completely turned him around. So those things are very exciting. Even I, who've experienced, thousands of times treating people, even I'm amazed at the efficacy of this thing. This lady, this is Jeanette. I showed you this before. She had like close to 50 tumors all throughout, or cysts and growths, fibroids, all kinds of names. The body should be completely green in this thermographic imagery. Yellow indicates inflammation. Red is a very critical problem. White is really bad. So here she was completely fatigued, and I had to talk her into trying this new big machine that we had. And after 1 month, got all of her energy back, tumor-free, cancer-free, cyst-free, fibroid-free. Amazing. So yeah, like I say, it's very exciting to help people. So I hope this made a little sense to you. I hope it gave you some encouragement to really go for it. And again, the main thing is as much time on the plasma tube machine. The contact devices, not so effective. On certain things, yes, parasites and that maybe, but not on cancer. So go for the plasma tubes, run it all night, set it up so you can use it conveniently, comfortably. Throw the paperwork away that says, treat yourself only this much, skip a day every 3 days, just go for it. That's all I can say. And through personal experience, and with my own body, but also with many, many others and animals, and yeah, endless types of things going on. It was amazing. So just go for it as much as you possibly can. I emphasize that more than any one singular other point. So anyway, guys, I really feel that we have a good start, and I wish I was there. Wow, I cannot emphasize that either enough. So anyway, I hope this helps, and like I said, please give me any questions, or tell me what to focus on, or if there's something that you don't like, because I'm just going to be open and honest. I'm not really filtering things. I'm just giving you everything. So tell me what to say and what not to say. I don't want to irritate you or upset you in any way. I just want to encourage you to do your best, and I really respect what you're doing. So love you guys, and keep up the good work. Bye for now.